The final UFC Fight Night card of 2020 is over. UFC Fight Night Vegas 17, Thompson versus Neal is a wrap, and what an amazing card it was. I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of Christos Giagos versus Carlton Minus. I'm just going to cut to the chase. Great performance by Giagos here. Turned up on short notice, a day's notice in fact, and got the win over Carlton Minus, and didn't do it by a fluky first round finish. He outgrinded Carlton Minus over 3 rounds on a day's notice when Carlton Minus had a full camp, and this is the second time that Carlton Minus has lost to a guy on short notice stepping up and beaten by decision as well, which is the worst thing possible. I don't know how this happens. I don't know how you can be a pro athlete in the UFC and get outgrinded by a guy who took the fight on a day's notice when you've had 8 weeks. This fight even got extended for him, and he was put on this card a bit later in the year. I'm going to just say it how it is, and it's brutally honest, but we've got to say it. Carlton Minus should be minused from the UFC. He let me down again, and that's not the only reason he should be cut. He's terrible as well. Get rid of him. I don't know why regional fighters in other parts of the world have to go crazy beating absolute monsters at KSW, Cage Warriors, and promotions alike, and Carlton Minus can fight absolute cans and get his way into the UFC. It's an embarrassment. He's terrible. Giagos wins. Good job from Giagos. He actually made a good bit of money for himself. He made $48,000 for himself on a day's notice, which is very, very nice for him going into Christmas. Great job, Giagos. Cut Minus from the UFC. I picked Minus to win this fight, and he made me lose my prediction. So I'm a little bit salty. Got that one wrong. Giagos gets the upset. Good for Giagos, though. He had a great performance, I guess, in the grappling, but Minus just had nothing for him off of his back because he's terrible. Moving on. Jimmy Flick versus Cody Durden. Another good fight while it lasted. I picked Cody Durden to get the upset win here. I thought I actually was onto something. I was very worried that Durden still had pink eye coming into the fight because he came out with sunglasses. He had pink eye in the little trailers they were playing backstage as well. He still went out there and was winning against Jimmy Flick in that fight. I picked him to win. He was looking good on the feet, outlanding Jimmy Flick at every turn, out-grappling Jimmy Flick in certain situations as well. And then Jimmy Flick flicks the switch and says, I'm not losing this, I'm jumping to a triangle. And I know it's not technically a flying triangle because he hit the ground first and then got the triangle, but that's a flying triangle. I don't want to split hairs here, but I think if you jump whatsoever and even get a triangle when you hit the ground, it's a flying triangle, let's be real. He pulled into the submission. I know he didn't get it before he hit the ground, and usually you have to have the triangle locked in while you're in the air for it to be a flying triangle, but that's still an amazing submission. Jimmy Flick gets it done, and the flyweights, again, are on the map. The flyweights showed up the whole prelims here. The flyweights, again, are on the map. Jimmy Flick, a welcome addition to the division. I think you could take on a guy like, who knows, the winner of Tim Elliott versus Jordan Espinoza might be a good one to make, or maybe just give him a fight with a guy like Zalgas Zamagulov, who's a flyweight in the UFC right now. But Jimmy Flick, welcome to the flyweight division. Let's work on him, moving him up those rankings. But a great performance by Jimmy Flick, and honestly, a great post-fight interview. He seems to have some personality, some character. He's from the South, which I love. It's my favourite part of the American accent. Jimmy Flick gets it done and earns himself a 50k bonus as well. Great performance by him. Moving on. I'm wrong again, by the way. 0-2 on the prelims. Tafon Chukwu versus Jamie Pickett. Chukwu gets it done over 3 rounds. And I'll tell you this, I actually forgot about this fight on the card because it was overshadowed because the main card was so good. Not crazy good, but the main card, it was such a long card, you forget some of the earlier ones. Now I'm remembering it. Tafon Chukwu by decision. Great performance over 3 rounds. Great knees in the clinch. I seem to remember a lot of them. They're vividly sticking out in my memory. Good head kicks as well at the end of his combinations. Jamie Pickett, though, you got to give it to him. He's tough. He's really tough. To go in there against a guy you arguably aren't going to beat in Tafon Chukwu and survive 3 rounds, all of those shots to the body with the knees, and he's still out there in the 3rd round looking to stay in there. Even in the 3rd round, other guys quit. They just do. Other guys in that 3rd round quit to Tafon Chukwu. After you get rocked badly and dropped badly and face plant the ground, he found a way back up and got himself to a decision. You've got to give it to Jamie Pickett. He's tough, but Chukwu landed so many brutal knees to the body, so many great shots on the feet as well. Chukwu's a real problem. He showed good takedown defense in this fight. Stuffed 3 of the 4 takedowns out of Pickett. Pickett got 1 of the takedowns and Chukwu got back to his feet, which was a good sign. I predicted Tafon Chukwu to win. I thought he would win it by 1st round brutal KO. I am so glad that he didn't. I'm so glad that he didn't, because if he got the first round KO, the same questions remain. How does he do over 3 rounds? What's his takedown defense like? Is there any grappling to be had? He showed all of that in this fight, and I'm glad that he got to go 3 rounds. It's great experience to get now he's in the UFC. He doesn't want to really face 3 rounds for the first time against a real guy in the middleweight division that's going to cause some problems to him. He got the opportunity against Pickett to go 3 rounds, and he dominated him every single round. Great performance by Chukwu. I'm glad he didn't get the KO, because now we know he can go 3 rounds at a decent pace, and he's got decent takedown defense as well, and okay grappling. Some mistakes were made, because I think I was intentionally looking for mistakes in Chukwu's game. He gave up the backside of to go to north-south when he had Pickett on the ground, which was very interesting. Some weird decisions were made by Chukwu, but he still got it done. He's young in his career. I'm just nitpicking for little things because he's so good and everyone's talking about him. So you kind of have to look for the weaknesses of how guys are going to do well against him. But Chukwu showed a great game. Overall, very well-rounded fighter. Great job, Chukwu. Moving on. Robertson versus Taylor Santos. I was wrong here. I went 1-3 in the first 4 fights on the prelims. Terrible start to the card. Robertson versus Taylor Santos. It gets better on the card for my predictions, by the way. I thought Robertson had a miles above her in the grappling exchanges, but Taylor Santos, I guess, just didn't let it happen. Just stayed on top the majority of the fight. She almost got armbarred in the first round and actually pushed her knee into the face of Robertson to escape it, which I've never seen before, but apparently that's legal. I don't know if that was legal, but you're allowed to stamp on the face of your opponent, knee on the face of your opponent. I think more fighters should do this in those positions because I've never really seen it before. Kneeing straight down into someone's face and nose while they've got you in a submission seems worse than a knee to the face on the ground. But it's legal. So good job, Taylor Santos. Gets out of the submissions early. Controls on the top. I actually thought it was a close first round. I know a lot of people were talking about, 29-28. How did it become this decision? I thought it was a close first round. Robertson was landing a lot of elbows off bottom. Had all the submission attempts in the first round as well. I thought it was a close first round. Could go either way. Santos gets the job done though. Very clear win for her in the second and third round, definitely. Gets it done. Top control all day. I picked Robertson to win. Mainly because she submitted girls that look good in the grappling against Taylor Santos. But apparently Santos is better than the girl that she lost to via grappling and top control, and is better than the level above her in the grappling as well. So it's weird, but that's MMA for you. The women's flyweight division, Robertson looked pretty bad, to be honest with you. She was pulling guillotines, jumping to submissions in rounds that she was behind. If you're behind in rounds, don't jump guillotines. In my opinion, that's just the ultimate failure of a fighter. Don't jump guillotines when you're behind in fights, in my opinion. But you know what? Robertson got controlled on the ground. Great performance by Taylor Santos. I still fuck Robertson. She's cute as fuck. So yeah, good job, Robertson. You lost, but she'll bounce back. Women's flyweight division, we've got a 17-1 prospect. Could well be 18-0 because even in the fight where she lost and got top controlled against, could give it to her. So 18-0 maybe, 17-1 definitely. Great performance by Taylor Santos. We've got something to work on at flyweight. Not the most exciting, but she gets it done and proves me wrong. 1-3 on the card. Moving on. Nguyen finally does what his surname says versus Antonio Arroyo. It was shit. It was funny. It was a shit performance from both. Like, neither a UFC caliber. I think we learned that here. Even with Nguyen's win, he won the fight. Clearly, in my opinion. I thought Arroyo won the first round, actually. I know they gave Nguyen, I think the Twitter gave Nguyen the round on the little bottom of the screen pop-ups. I gave Arroyo the first round, especially now I'm thinking back to it. The shots that Arroyo landed, Nguyen did nothing with the takedowns. But in the second and third, Arroyo did basically nothing with the strikes. So you kind of have to go to the takedowns of Nguyen. Got the job done, 12 out of 16 takedowns. I just don't like it, man. He's not that good. He's not that good, and I don't know how he somehow went to a split decision with Darren Stewart, and even some people thought he won that fight against Darren Stewart. I have no idea how. Maybe Darren Stewart is terrible. Maybe Holland is secretly. I don't even know what this means for the division, but Nguyen beat Antonio Arroyo. Arroyo had 0 takedown defense whatsoever. No gas tank either whatsoever. It was bad looking for the sport of MMA. I'm just going to point out. Nguyen gets it done. Not really a win, but at least he's still in the UFC now. I say book him against another. I don't even care. I don't care what middleweight he takes on. I want it to be a welterweight because he's too fat for middleweight. But yeah, he gets the job done on short notice, and he saves a card with an extra fight on the card. So I'm glad I got my prediction correct as well. 29-28 Durden win is what I called perfectly. I don't even count it, man. That was a bad performance, but whatever. I got a prediction correct. Durden win gets it done. I will say this. One moment in the fight, he showed great fight IQ. He's so small, he placed his entire body weight on the knee of Arroyo. He put his knee on Arroyo and put his entire body weight on it, and it crumbled Arroyo's stance. Amazing IQ in that situation. Everything else totally embarrassing. Moving on. Durden gets it done. Eubanks versus Kianzad. Good fight, I guess. Decent. It wasn't the most interesting. Again, these prelims were a bit stinky, in my opinion. Main card gets a bit better, but the prelims were a little bit stinky other than Jimmy Flick. Eubanks versus Kianzad. Eubanks is 7-6. I say just get rid of her, man. She's 7-6. She looks like she's slowing down in her career. Didn't have the cardio in the third round to get it done. I thought it could go either way. I know some people were calling a robbery here. I picked Eubanks to win by split decision. I thought that could have happened. I thought the fight could go either way. Kianzad seemed to land more in the third round, and Eubanks landed bigger. So it's like one of those arguments where you can genuinely see a split decision occurring. I believe they went with unanimous towards Pani Kianzad. So good for Pani Kianzad. Made herself a little bit of dosh in the fight. But yeah, good job. Pani Kianzad made 28 grand. Eubanks made 48 grand. Wait, Kianzad made 48 grand and she won. And Eubanks made 48 grand and she lost. And Eubanks made more than that. Eubanks made $53,000 for that shit performance. Wow. UFC fighters don't get paid enough. It's crazy. Pani Kianzad, good performance. I can see how they give it to her. I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a bad decision, and I picked Eubanks. So cool. Moving on, please. Fucking hell. Anthony Pettis versus Alex Morono. Almost didn't expect it on the prelims. Good way to finish the prelims. Pettis is back in the mix. I know he's teasing with the UFC, saying whether or not he'll re-sign. He's re-signing with them. He just wants to play hard to get, so they give him more money. Anthony Pettis, great performance against Alex Morono. I'm so glad to see Pettis back in the mix, and I'm so glad that he got to live up to what he was talking about in his interviews. He was losing early. He reset himself, and he came back in the second and third, a new man, and looked really, really good in those rounds. I loved Pettis' performance. I thought it was amazing. It wasn't the most clean in the world. I would have maybe liked to finish out of him, but he ended up getting it done against a tough customer in Alex Morono, who has a win and is coming off a great win in his career against, I know it's Reese McKee, but still he was coming off a win in the welterweight division. I think Anthony Pettis had a great performance. The wheel kick in the third round. He messed up the finish, and I know he said he didn't mind that he messed up the finish. You wanted a wheel kick finish. I know, listen, Anthony Pettis, I know you're all at one with your inner peace, and you wanted to say you're okay with it not being... You wanted a wheel kick finish. It's a Showtime stuff. You want a wheel kick finish. You didn't get a wheel kick finish. It was a bit of a slow fight, but Pettis picked his shots, kept his pace over 3 rounds. Round 2, he really scored Morono, 32-17 on strikes. Round 3 was pretty easy for him as well. Just keeping ahead on strikes the entire fight was the sort of game plan there. Even used a lot of his grappling as well in that third round, which we don't usually get Pettis... We don't usually see Pettis throw a lot of grappling stuff, and I liked that he reset himself in the second, which is what he'd been working on with his mental coach. One thing I hate, he made 360 grand. Good for him. That's not what I hate about it, sorry. One thing I hate is the fact that Anthony Pettis is talking about moving down to the lightweight division. Don't move down to the lightweight division whatsoever. You're a welterweight. I need that to be mentioned. Anthony Pettis is a welterweight. I don't know, every time you go down to lightweight, he looks fragile, he looks beaten already, he cowers away when he's losing. Either his new mindset is going to take him to above and beyond in that division, now that he's a little bit more mentally sound, and now that Khabib's gone, I'm sure the matchups look a little bit better for him. But Pettis should be at welterweight. I think he should have called out Nick Diaz. He would have got the Nick Diaz fight in March if he called out Nick Diaz after this win. And he's probably ranked top 10 in the welterweight division after this as well, because Jeff Neal just lost. He beat Wonderboy, who beat Vicente Luque. He beat Chiesa, who's above him in the rankings. He might be top 9, top 8. He should have called out Nick Diaz. Failed it. Oh well, he wants to move down to 55. I say jump him in there with a good guy in the division. Who knows what happens? We'll find out. Pettis wants back in there at March. We'll see what he does. I think he should stay at 170. I think he's going to see the rankings and see how high he moves up just because of some of his wins. And I think he's going to be in a good position at 170, and I think he might stay there. I hope he does anyway, and I hope he stays in the UFC. Showtime Pettis is back in the mix. Predicted him to win that one as well. But good performances. I think I went, 2-4 on the prelims overall, which is never good. No, 2-5 or 3-5. I don't even know what I went on the prelims. Let me count. Pettis got the win. Kianzad wrong, 1-1. Nguyen got the win, 2-1. Santos 2-2. Chukwu 3-2. 3-5 on the prelims. Not too good, but those are the prelims. Moving on to the main card. Marcin Tybura versus Greg Hardy. I predicted Marcin Tybura to get a late rounds TKO, second or third. I ended on third. I thought Greg Hardy would have more in him, to be honest with you. I thought he wouldn't just shell up in a ball and kind of allow the finish to happen. It wasn't like a clean KO finish with ground and pound, but you can't blame the referee because Tybura was landing punches and Greg Hardy literally just shelled up in a ball and accepted the punches. Like, it was weird to see someone quit. I don't want to say quit like Stephen A. Smith, but he realised he couldn't win and made it the least bad stoppage possible, in my opinion. Just, I don't know if you want to take that as the word quit or not, but that's just my opinion. I'll word it how I want. Tybura gets the job done by TKO in the second round, gets himself a performance bonus as well. Good job by Tybura, got the upset, got the TKO. I just knew that Tybura could get him down, and when he did it would be problems, and that's what we saw with Greg Hardy. He's still around. I don't think he should be cut from the UFC. At least now he can take on like a Rafael Pessoa or a Marcos Rodrigo de Lima, someone at heavyweight coming off a loss that's a little bit easier for him to take. But Marcin Tybura just a step too soon, and I thought it was the case, and Tybura gets the good win. Tybura's a savage, man. He went the distance with Verdum and won rounds. 5 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, he's got cardio, he's got pace, and he's got grappling. Even took Verdum down in that fight and didn't get submitted, which is crazy. Had control time there, a lot of it as well. Saw this one coming. Tybura gets it done over Hardy. I wanted Hardy to win, but Tybura just, as soon as he got him to the ground, it was like Hardy had no idea where he was. Good performance by Tybura. Moving on up the card. 1-0 so far on the main card. Marlon Moraes versus Rob Font. Marlon Moraes' career is over. I want to say before I talk about this prediction, I picked Marlon Moraes to win. I thought he would win it by submission in the first round by guillotine, and I was very close to getting my way in that first round because he almost had that guillotine. Rob Font ended up KOing him in the first round of their fight. It's just tough to see. Good performance by Rob Font. Landed the jabs necessary that ended up KOing Moraes. The jabs. At bantamweight. These are bantamweights jabbing you. Font couldn't take out Pettis, Sergio Pettis. Couldn't take out Ricky Simone with anything. Jabbing Marlon Moraes to a TKO finish is not a good sign at all. I know he landed that uppercut afterwards, but the jab is kind of what set him off. Marlon Moraes turned around too quickly after the Sandhagen loss. That's just kind of how it happened, and now I believe his chin is completely gone, and his career might be over. I say give him one more chance, but he's not going to do good now. He's just been KO'd and his chin's gone. And that's kind of the result of the fight. It wasn't really that Rob Font was amazing. It's more just that Moraes' chin is kind of done now. And that's just how it is. I made a mistake predicting this fight. I called that Moraes would win. I do want to give my excuse. I thought that Moraes fought Sandhagen in August. I knew it was wrong, so I double-checked it in the middle of my prediction, I believe, even, to see when Marlon Moraes took on Corey Sandhagen and got TKO'd. I read it as the 10th of the 8th, as the 10th of August. It was actually the... No, I read it as the... I don't even know what I read it as, but it ended up being October the 10th, I believe, that he got it done. I thought it was August the 10th, somehow, or maybe it was October the 8th. Well, I know it was October the 8th, and I read it as August the 10th, and it was just... It was kind of over from there. I thought he'd have a bit more time to recover. I was wrong. I read the date wrong. Maybe I should have picked Font to win by TKO because, to be honest, 2 months turnaround after a TKO loss, regardless of how bad the stoppage might be or how non-serious the stoppage would be, still too quickly to turn around, even to cut weight for Marlon Moraes 2 times in a row. He's not even a big guy, though, man. Rob Font was way bigger than him, got the job done, got the KO. 18-4 is a better record than 23-8. I'm glad that Rob Font got it done. Good job, Rob Font. Let's move up the division. Take on the winner of Jimmy Rivera versus Pedro Munoz. I think either of those are a rematch. Maybe definitely the Pedro Munoz one is a rematch because he lost by guillotine. I say do him versus the winner of that bout. Winner of that one gets someone else. It's going to be a tough division to climb up because we got so many big names coming back into the mix. Cruz coming back. Aldo now back. Dillashaw entering soon. But Font gets it done and earns himself a performance bonus. And Rob Font earned how much that fight? $175,000 for Rob Font. You know, Fighters get paid good money. Good job, Rob Font. Moving on up the card. The only one on the main card I got wrong. Spoiler alert. Miguel Pereira versus Chaos Williams. Saw people say robbery. I did a video on this. It wasn't. Miguel Pereira won the fight maybe 30-27, maybe 29-28. It was a razor close fight. I think Pereira landed the better shots. I know people say that Williams landed the better shots because he landed on the chin of Pereira with some punches, and they're used to seeing Williams KO people with those shots, so they assumed that it would KO Pereira when it landed and gave it more respect than it deserved. He landed good punches on Pereira's chin, but Pereira took those punches and clinched up with him and landed front kicks to the stomach and landed knees to the stomach as well in the clinch. And in the second round, it was close on strikes. He gets the rear naked at the end. That steals him the round in my opinion, because he almost had Williams tapping. It was in rear naked choke on the back at the end of the round. If the round gets another 10 seconds, he might be finishing that round. Got to give him round 2. Round 1 was razor close, I understand. Round 3, razor close again. They're counting weird strikes for Chaos Williams that never even existed. He was missing a lot of strikes that they were counting for him, which I thought was so weird. I think they had him at like 38 significant strikes midway through the second round. He landed like 11 or 12 in the first. It's very strange the way they're doing these kind of things with the significant strikes, and I think they're trying to rig it for the younger fighter, and I'll talk about that in the next fight in the co-main. They're trying to rig these strike numbers in favor of the younger fighter. I even saw them do it in the Hardy versus Tybura. He was way ahead. I had it way closer. I don't know about you guys, I had all of these fights way closer on the strikes they were showing on screen, and it was every single fight, it seemed like it was happening, but still, great performance by Miguel Pereira. Not the best, not what we were expecting. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a war. Pereira can be technical, and he made it happen against Chaos Williams. Got the takedowns late, which ultimately I think secured him that third round. I know he didn't land big ground and pound shots, but he landed some shots on ground and pound, whether they're total strikes or not. I think we need a rule change. Chaos Williams was landing with toes to the knee of Pereira, like toes to the upper leg of Pereira as he's moving his leg backwards or checking them, and they're counted as significant strikes. But Pereira landing shots because he's in full guard that he isn't posturing up for aren't counting as significant strikes. It makes no sense to me. I think we need to change those rules, and just because it lands and you're both on the feet does not make it significant, in my opinion. But interesting stuff. I gave it to Miguel Pereira. Good win. Got the job done. Proved me right. I'm 2-1 on the main card so far. No performance bonus there. It was a bit of a lackluster one. But Font got a performance bonus, and so did Tybura. Good for them both. How much did Tybura make? Tybura made 165 plus 50 grand. $215,000. There you go, I guess. Good money again from Tybura. Really good money. Almost $250,000 for an unranked heavyweight, you know? Moving on. Jose Aldo versus Marlon Vera. Really, really looking forward to breaking this one down. Aldo came back as the old Aldo. Not the old Aldo, but the body shots, man. There's something about when Aldo throws those body shots that just gets me going, you know, in a different way than other things get me going. Like, even porn don't get me going in the way that Aldo's body shots do. The lead hooks to the liver, ripping apart Vera. I liked the performance. I thought Aldo won the first round quite comfortably. They had Vera so far ahead on significant strikes. In the midway of the start of the second round, they had him at like 30 something. He didn't even land. He landed how many overall? 46 in the whole fight. And at the start of the second, they had him by like 30. They had him maybe more than he even threw. It's so weird. It's so weird to me how they come out with these strike numbers. And I'm starting to think they're rigging it. I really am. They're trying to sway public opinion. So in the cases that judges don't go along with their rigging, they can still have the audience thinking that a guy won. In my opinion, Aldo won the first round quite clearly, in my opinion. Close, but won it quite clearly. Landed the better shots and landed more of them, of course. Round 2, Vera landed more. I agree with the fact that he landed more. But Aldo still landed the better shots, in my opinion. So that one's a bit of either way. I understand going for Vera. I understand going for Aldo. I'd lean Vera. He landed some good shots as well, including some nice little hooks and shots on the feet with his hands. As soon as he started committing with his hands, he started doing a little bit better. But Aldo, in the third round, does what fucking veterans do and adjusted. He used his grappling offensively, which we've never seen from Aldo before. Even in the first round, he got Vera to the ground, didn't he? I'm fairly certain Aldo got Vera to ground in the first round, but still. No, that was Moraes against Font. I'm mistaken. It was a different bald-headed Brazilian. Anyway, Aldo got it done against Vera. Great performance. Good shots in the first round with the body shots. The uppercuts he was winding up in the second. I love Aldo, man. The way he throws stuff is just so interesting to watch. We're going to talk about the main event in a second, which is also interesting to watch the way people throw stuff. Stephen Thompson, crazy. Third round, Aldo. I think they could have given it a 10-8. He had the back the entire time. How much control time? 4 minutes 57 out of a 5-minute round. He obviously might have got Vera down earlier as well. But dominant third round, had the back the entire time, kept trying for the rear naked. Yeah, I said that could be a 10-8, could not be. I know they give that 10-8s nowadays, so good performance from Jose Aldo. He called out TJ Dillashaw, and I'm looking at the division, and I can't see anyone else for Dillashaw to fight. I can't. Garbrandt won't fight him again. That's a trilogy, and Garbrandt's lost twice, so they won't do that one. I think Garbrandt's going to get the short end of the stick and have to fight an up-and-comer. Aldo's going to get Dillashaw, because Sandhagen's already booked against Edgar. I think Aldo should shimmy above Edgar in the rankings now after that win, even though Moraes lost and it's going to affect Aldo. I think Aldo belongs above Edgar. He's beaten him twice, for God's sakes. Aldo's great, gets the job done over the decision. Proves me correct, 29-28 unanimous, or a 29-27 with a 10-8. I called 2 rounds to 1 Aldo. I got it correct. Moving on to the main events. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Jeff Neal. Just an outclassing every single round. Like, every single round, even on one leg. The 5th round was the closest round of the fight, and fair play to Jeff Neal for bringing it. But burping a lot, actually. I watched the highlights before doing this recap, just quickly. Burping so much, and I've never heard someone burp so much in the middle of the cage. Very interesting. But still, because of the body shots from Wonderboy, I assume, landed great jabs to the body, great side kicks to the body, great round kicks to the body as well, which we don't usually see from Wonderboy. He used a lot of Muay Thai stuff. Like, he changed his style a bit, which I like from Wonderboy, seeing him change things at 37 because he threw elbows. I thought that's kind of disgraceful. You call yourself a nice motherfucker. You can't throw elbows, you dirty man. Keep those kids away from him, in my opinion. But good job, Stephen Thompson. Gets the job done over 5 rounds. Scores him every single round. Round 5 was close, but Thompson still outlanded him by like 15, 16, 17. So I don't know how close that was. But on one leg, Thompson still wins the 5th round. 37 years of age? I think not. He's somehow... I don't even know how, but he's somehow getting better at 37. And Teixeira has this. Other fighters, Ferguson does not have this. I thought Ferguson would be the only guy who could break the rule of age, but apparently not, because if you look at the two of them, Thompson and Ferguson looks about 2 decades older. I'll be honest with you guys. Stephen Thompson, still in good shape, still doing the damn thing. I think he beats Jorge Masvidal in a fight. He called him out. I don't know if Jorge's going to take the bout with... what's his name? I don't think Jorge takes the bout of Colby. I know he loses that one, and I think Jorge knows as well what happens when they grapple. I know he's good at striking, but grappling in the cage and different stuff when someone can just ragdoll you, you know. So I don't think Masvidal's going to take the Colby fight. I hope he does for Ultimate Fighter. That would be ideal. But Thompson versus Masvidal also kind of works. It's a rematch. Thompson got paid $420,000 plus a 50 grand bonus, which I think he deserved for fighting through that leg injury in the 5th round and just schooling Jeff Neal over every round. $470,000 for Wonderboy. Good for him. He didn't get paid at all this year, and even Jeff Neal made 160 grand. 160,000 to get beaten up for 5 rounds. Fucking count me in, man. Jesus, count me in. But still, Aldo made good money as well, close to $500,000. Good stuff throughout the card. Great payments for all the fighters, making good money for before Christmas. Stephen Thompson, I think he landed more than they said. And I do want to mention this about the stats again. Again with the stats. I think Thompson landed double these. I see 171 significant strikes. I thought, and I see him doubling Neal on strikes some rounds. I thought Wonderboy was like 4 times the amount. Like when I was watching it, jab, 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 body shot, jab, left hand. Neal misses his counter shot. Leg kick, jab, jab as Neal comes forward, body shot, side kick on it. Like, it just seemed like Wonderboy was landing so much, but I guess a lot of them were bouncing off the arms, and I should listen to the experts that make up stats every round. But somehow, I do want to mention this, after Thompson doesn't get the strikes that I believe he deserved in the fight, somehow they had Jeff Neal, and this is criminal rigging at its finest. There's no excuse about this whatsoever. Jeff Neal was whiffing big shots the whole fight long. Somehow, in round number 2, they had Jeff Neal landing 26 significant strikes to Wonderboy's 24 or 5, I believe it was. But 26 was definitely the number for Jeff Neal on significant strikes. He only threw 25, and he clearly missed a lot of them. 40% he missed, landed 60% of them, which was a good rating to land at, to be honest with you. Good for Jeff Neal. But he got counted for 26 significant strikes on screen for round 2, which would give him the round. And Wonderboy got 24. And Wonderboy actually landed 30 according to the recount. I thought he landed way more than that even. And Neal landed 15. They counted 26. He threw 25. He landed 15 apparently according to their recount. Whoever is doing the counting of strikes needs to be immediately fired. Never show me the significant strikes on screen ever again, because they're always so fucking wrong, and they were every single round for this fight, especially by far, not by a lot. I mean, not by a lot, a small amount, by a massive, massive margin that can sway the opinion of audiences, man. And he did this for Chaos versus Pereira, and he did this for other fights on the card, like Tybura, Hardy, they did it for. They did it for Vera versus Aldo. They had Vera up a crazy amount of strikes. It's very strange to me, but they're trying to rig this. One fight at a time, they're trying to rig it, but the judges were good tonight. Of course, the judges had to give that to Wonderboy, and he ended up giving him every single round, which I was glad about. The judges actually retaliated to the UFC's attempts at rigging this shit. Good job to the judges. Wonderboy gets the job done, and I actually put out a post on my channel, which I'm going to check right now, which I said, who wins between Thompson and Masvidal in a rematch? It's received 144 votes in like 30 minutes. It's got 75% Wonderboy, 25% Jorge Masvidal. I think that tells you the answer there. Good performance from both guys. Good payments as well. I love watching how much they get paid because it's actually crazy amounts. But good job to both. I guess Jeff Neal just earned himself a good contract, because from now on, he's getting paid 150 to show. 150 to... Jeff Neal's going to start making 310 grand per fight if he wins. Good for him. I like it very much so indeed. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. That's my opinion on the whole card. Goodbye. Click that button up there. Like and subscribe. I went 5-1 on the main card. I went 3-5 on the prelims. I think that makes me overall what? 4-1 on the main card. 3-5 on the prelims. That makes me 7-6. No way I went 7-6. I went 7-6. 4-1. 3-5. Am I doing that math completely wrong? Wow. At least the main card I was all correct. The prelims are kind of shit, but whatever. All good. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Goodbye. I'll see you later. I wasn't. Let me just recount that one more time just to make sure here. I went 4-1 on the main card. On the prelims I went what? 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Wow. Okay. All right then. See you later. Goodbye.